Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney, and today you're joining me for a weekly wrap-up, and what a week it has been. We all have struggle weeks, and this was mine. March has just been a really hard month for me, catching a groove on some good books. I feel like there's nothing really good coming out. I feel like I've read all the things. It's like I can't catch a groove, and so I didn't kind of get in any mood to read until about the end of this week. So let me show you what I read, tell you about it, and then I also got my Book of the Month Club books, and then talk about what I want to read this week. So first, I want to say, if you are new here, welcome. Thanks for joining in. Check out the content on my channel to see if this is a channel you'd like to subscribe to. And if you are already a subscriber, thanks so much for returning. And don't forget to turn on post notifications and check out the memberships to see if you would like some extra perks on the channel. So I started the week very hopeful. So if you were here last week, you saw that I left you guys and I was in the middle of reading Freida McFadden's The Crash. I ended up giving this 4 stars. Freida McFadden is a great, thriller writer, but I've heard the term popcorn thrillers, where they like jump in right away. They're pretty short, and they get the job done. I was slumped last week, and so this is exactly what I needed. And so I gave this 4 stars. And in this book, we're following a girl who has recently found out that she's pregnant with a one-night stand, but he's super rich and he's not interested in being the father, but he will cut her a check. And so she has been working with his sort of assistant or somebody that he works with to get that situated and sign a contract that basically is like, I have no contact with the child. You don't name me, I won't name you, and I'll give you a check. And so she's figuring that out, and then she realizes something happens. I think I said it in the last vlog, but I don't want to spoil it. But something happens that makes her reconsider. Anyway, she goes to visit her brother on a snowy night, of course, and has a crash. And she is picked up by a guy who's in a truck. She's a little weary because he seems to be like he would hurt her, right? And so, but she's got a broken ankle, like she's struggling. So she gets to the house and he tells her that, the roads are bad, but his wife is a nurse. And so they will take care of her for the night and then get her to the hospital. So she's like, okay, I can do this for a night. Well, then it starts turning very much into the movie Misery. The wife was a nurse. However, she's had quite a few mental issues, and they kind of allude to that sort of in the beginning. And, they don't really let her leave, which just felt like Misery. And I'll stop there. It goes from there, but it was very interesting and what I needed at that moment. It's not my favorite Freida McFadden book. I think she's had other really good ones. I think it's an older one, but it was still decent, so I give it 4 stars. Then I slumped again because I didn't know what to read. So I worked Monday and Tuesday of this past week, and then I was off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today's Sunday, and I'm off tomorrow, Monday, because my kids had spring break this week. And so I wanted to start off the week a little bit to get some things knocked off at work, and then I spent the rest of the week with them. We didn't really do anything. I mean, if you're like me, everything's so expensive right now. Like, we're enjoying the house. We're enjoying our dogs. We're enjoying $8 eggs, because I literally paid $8.49 for a 12-pack of eggs. And so we're just kind of chilling. We have a plan for summer that we want to do, and so we are being fiscally responsible because, not to take it on a turn, but I just know that times will be challenging if things go the way they are. And so we're just stacking up our savings and, just whatever. So we were just hanging around, not doing much. So I was like, this is great. I'm going to have all the time in the world to read. Well, I couldn't really find anything that I wanted to read, and so that blew my plan. But on Wednesday, I picked up and decided to finish I'm Getting Married to Mothman by Paige Lavoie. Now, if you remember, toward the summer, I was pretty obsessed with these books. Book 1, I'm in love with Mothman, and then 2 was like I'm engaged to Mothman. Now this is I'm getting married to Mothman. And I liked the whole series. It's very campy, right? We follow Heather, who's an influencer. In the first book, she wants to get off the grid, as influencers do, right? They just want to live a normal life for a while. And she goes to this like remote cottage area and has a little cabin stitch. I think she buys it too. Like, she's doing well as an influencer. And then they start, I guess, in the community, they start talking about like a Mothman and like different cryptids, and there's a cryptid hunter, whatever. Mothman ends up crashing into her house, and then she's enamored by him when he's in his human form. And so bada bing, bada boom, they are in love, and then they're engaged, and now they're getting married. Their banter is super cute in the past 2 books. It is spicy, like they are doing a lot. I think in the last book it was overdone, where it was like they went to go visit the Mothman's parents or mom, and like any spare second that they had, they were, all over each other. So it just felt like a little much. This one, we're back with Heather and the Mothman, and they're planning their wedding, and Heather gets kidnapped by a vampire and then spends the entirety of the book trying to get out of that. I did not love that. I gave this a 3-star because I loved the series, but this book really fell off for me because it just didn't stay true to the point of the book. The whole book is about Heather and the Mothman coming together, loving each other, like having this funny banter. It's just like a weird, quirky, very niche story. And then we threw like an adventure plot in it, and it just, I don't think it needed it. So I give that 3 stars. Then on Thursday, the Strawberry Patch Pancake House came out. This is the 4th book in the Dream Harbor series, right? So you have Pumpkin Spice Cafe. What is it next? Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Christmas Tree Farm. And now this is the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Now, all of the stories are interconnected. Like, they're in one town. And so that's great. But this one was a little off for me because it was 2 characters that were not really part of the original core group. So far, everybody that has been in the stories have been related to the first couple's friends and siblings and friend group. It's all been them, and these are 2 sort of outsiders. So we had, let me find their names. Okay, so in this book you have Archer and Iris. Iris was in the last book very lightly, and maybe in a couple others, but so light. She's like a yoga teacher. She teaches at like the YMCA, and I think she does the senior citizen swim classes, like exercise swim classes. So that's how we heard about her, but she did not have a significant role in anything that had been happening around the town. And then Archer is new to town. He has just found out that he has a child. She's 5. Her name is Olive. And the mom passed away, I think in a car accident. And so he is settling in Dream Harbor with Olive for a few months to raise her, get acclimated to her, and then I guess he's going to move on. Archer is a chef, like a world-renowned chef. And so obviously we're in Dream Harbor. It's small town. He gets a job at the diner and tries to like glam it up, and everybody's like, come on, this is not that type of place. We are just a small community. We just want what the diner has always been. And so there's a little bit of conflict there. But Iris and Archer get connected because Iris needs to make more money and Archer needs a nanny. So Iris becomes a live-in nanny because she also needed a new place to stay. Now, here's where things fell off for me, is that I felt 0 chemistry between Iris and Archer. Now, if you've read the other books, they are cheesy. Like, they are, no doubt. And they are what they are. I like them. It's very Hallmarky. But they all have had chemistry, and this had 0 chemistry. So I just felt like it was very forced. And I did not enjoy the daughter in the story. It's not that I dislike kids in a story. They just have to be written a very specific way for me to enjoy it. And I did not like the way Olive was written in this story. I'm trying to think if there was a book recently that I read where the kid in the story was really good, and I can't think of one. So maybe I don't like kids in romance stories. But this one was not my favorite of the series. I know some people have said it started to fall off after the first book. I don't think that's necessarily true, but this one fell off for me because of the fact that I did not know the people. and I feel like a resident of Dream Harbor, and these are new people on the block, and they came in and they had no chemistry, so I did not like them. So literally that's all I read this week. 2 books, because I finished The Crash, well, 3. I finished The Crash on Sunday night. 3 books this week. Mind you, my goal is 4 to 5 books. And it just didn't happen. I am in the middle of a book though. This is not going to be finished by today, but I did pick up While We're Young by K.L. Walther, excuse me. I talked about this last week. I picked it up. I have it on Kindle, but I also picked up a copy because it was so cute. She has the best covers on her books. They're amazing. And so she suckered me in again, but I'm not loving this book. Unfortunately, it's not great. I'm gonna make it through because it's only 300 and some pages, but I've been listening to some audio of it to get through some chunks, but it's basically Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I really wish I had not seen somebody say that, because as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oh, absolutely, this is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So in this book, we're following Grace, Issa, Everett, and James. Grace loves Everett secretly. They've been friends, but Everett used to go out with Issa, and then Issa likes James, who's Grace's brother. So there's that little quadruple thing. And K.L. Walther does that all the time in her books. There's always some like romance triangle or like this quad thing going on. Okay, so here we are. So Grace wants to do a senior skip day. She's student body president and she has a great reputation, but she plays sick, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and decides to snatch up her friend Issa, and they borrow a car to get Everett from school so that they can do things around town. They're seniors and they want to just like have one day where everything's chill and, do whatever they want to do as friends. James is not necessarily invited, but he's gonna jump in as I can tell, but they're in Philadelphia and they are going to be running around Philadelphia, looking at the sights and what have you. Stop for a second. I have a little bit of a cold. My throat was dry. And that came on Thursday. I haven't felt like worn down because usually if I start feeling like I'm a little bit sick, I take a Zicam and that will usually knock out any symptoms. But I haven't had a cold in like 2 years, and so it's time for one. I still take Zicam because it shortens the symptoms and it makes it so much more doable. So anyway, I had to stop to get a drink. But anyway, okay, so this book is definitely Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'm gonna finish it on audio. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just don't think I'll ever love K.L. Walther's writing. It's not gonna get more than a 3 for me. I just know that. But there's not a lot of books coming out, and April has a ton of books coming out, but there's not a lot right now. So the struggle is real, and the struggle is real. Okay, so let's talk about what I picked up from Book of the Month Club and then what I'm going to read this week, because I think I can only get a couple things done. So first, I picked up Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. I did get the e-arc for this. However, I did commit to purchasing it because I still think you want to support the author. And so I do want to purchase the e-arcs that I got. I loved this a lot. I rated this pretty high. My rating's on Goodreads, but basically this book follows Lenny, who is really struggling after her best friend passes. They were roommates, they were everything to each other, and in the middle of her sort of grieving, she gets some work with a light friend who has a daughter and asks Lenny to babysit her for a few days, like overnights and stuff. And so she does. And while she's babysitting the little girl Ainsley, the mom of Ainsley's uncle Miles is kind of lingering around, and like he's not helping, but he's definitely not like leaving them alone. And so they start up sort of a love-hate thing. But basically, he's around because he wants to do better for his niece Ainsley and has seen how Lenny is so good with her. And then he helps Lenny with her grief as she tries to get back into the world. So I think it's a really great book. Highly recommend it. Cara Bastone's books have been good. Ready or Not was really good as well. So I definitely recommend that, but I got that one. Then I picked up, I was able to pick up one of the Lolly finalists for free. I had read all of them, and so, except this one, and so I just picked this one. This one's called The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. And this one says, in the 1950s Tehran, 7-year-old Ellie lives in grand comfort until the untimely death of her father, forcing her and her mother to move to a tiny home downtown. Lonely and bearing the brunt of her mother's endless grievances, Ellie dreams of having a friend to alleviate her isolation. Luckily, on the first day of school, she meets Homa, a kind, passionate girl with a brave and irrepressible spirit. Together, the two girls play games, learn to cook in the stone kitchen of Homa's warm home, wander through the colorful stalls of the Grand Bazaar, and share their ambitions for becoming lion women. But their happiness is disrupted when Ellie and her mother are afforded the opportunity to return to their previous bourgeoisie life. As Ellie enjoys her new popularity at the best girls' high school in Iran, her memories of Homa begin to fade. Years later, however, Homa's sudden reappearance in Ellie's privileged world alters the course of their lives. Together, the two young women come of age and pursue their own goals for meaningful futures. But as the political turmoil on Iran builds to a breaking point, one earth-shattering betrayal will have enormous consequences. Oh, this actually sounds pretty good. I didn't read the description because I only had one option really to pick, but I think I'm gonna read this week. I've been looking for a literary fiction that has like a family sister element to it, so I like that and put that to the side. Okay, then the book of the month I picked was Wild Shore. Again, I was forced to pick this because there wasn't anything else that sounded really good. I really dislike when they have no romance books that are like featured and they just have it as the add-on, but whatever. So this one is about Dominic Salt. He lives on like a remote, it feels Alaskan island area with his 3 children. He's not far from Antarctica, that's what I'm getting at. And they've been living in isolation for years, and then a woman washes ashore, like Little Mermaid. I was reading this to my kids, we were talking about that, like Ariel style. She washes ashore, and then they start getting to know her and figuring out how to let this woman enter their life. So this was kind of cute too, in the sense that it's family, probably drama, but not on my top of the list. And then I got Oathbound, of course, because I am down to read this, and I needed a copy. I wish it was paperback because the other one I have is paperback, but it's okay. So getting that done. So I think this week my goals are to finish While We're Young. This is, like I said, this is going to be audio, so I will probably be taking this on the go with me or as I'm doing things around the house, because I think that's the only way I'm going to get through it, because the voices kind of make it go faster. And then I for sure am reading Blood March this week. I know I talked about it last week and I didn't even touch it. This week I want to do Blood Marked, and I want to go into Oathbound. But then I'm also going to jump into this one this week. So I think I'm going to read Blood Marked, this one, and then Oathbound. Because finishing Blood Marked, I can read this as like my prize, right? And then go into Oathbound. And then read a Babysitters Club this week too. Just so I can have like a good balance. Because I think Oathbound might take a little bit longer as well. So that is my weekly wrap up. It wasn't the most exciting in the world of reading, but we got some things done, and we have more to get to next week, and so I'm looking forward to that TBR coming up. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.